אז תן לי, אבל תן לי תמונת מצב, תן לי. אז למה אתה אומר לי קטסטרופה? אוקיי, מה אתה יודע שם? יש הרוגים, בלגנים, חטופים, הבנתי. וואו, 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 ביי. מה, זה הטיל פה? הטיל פה? הטיל. איפה הטיל? הנה, אני עומד. בסדר, אני שואל אותך, מה?
לא יודע, יכול להיות שזה פה. יכול להיות, זה נראה כאילו... נראה ככה לפי אבו. עכשיו אני לא, ביבי.
לא לגעת.
טוב, נדבר, יאללה.
למי? אתם באים אליי?
יאללה, תתחילו לטפל את זה, יאללה, בוא נהיה כאן, צריך להראות את
אל תזוזו, אומר, אל תזוזו.
לא זז.
אנחנו באוויר.
באוויר. אנחנו בלייב כל הזמן.
אמרתי לו.
תתחיל לקפל ואנחנו זזים תכף. תבין כבר אני פה. תגיד, אני דומה לך? או שאתה דומה לי?
וואו, בוא אחי, נמאס לי פה.
תגיד לי, אני דומה לך אמיתי עכשיו.
אתם באים אלינו או לא?
אתה בחדשות? אתה לא בלייב. חכה, אני רוצה לשאול אותו אם אני באמת דומה לו. למה כולם יודע? קראנו, בשיח שלי. רשע, כולם דומים. לא! כולם מצטלם איתי, אחי, אמיתי ואימא. נשבע לך. מהחלון פה. מהחלון. איפה? פה של ה...
איפה נמצא? בצד השני.
מה זה איפה? כניסה, אתה רוצה להיכנס לבניין?
שערו בתמונות. בוא.
מסביב במודע.
שערו בתמונות אומר.
דרונה, תסתכל.
אנחנו זזים.
אני מסתכל, בוא. אתה רוצה לראות? אני מסתכל.
בוא.
Admiral, we're just hearing the latest. You just heard it as well from Raf Sanchez on the ground live in Israel. At least 40 Israelis have now been confirmed dead. We're also hearing NBC News reporting that Hamas militants are confirming that they have taken Israeli soldiers hostage and has moved them to the Gaza Strip. Admiral, I have to ask you, obviously the biggest concerns would be not only the Israeli civilians that have been taken hostage, but the soldiers as well. What are your initial thoughts concerning this ongoing attack that's happening as we speak right now in Israel?
First of all, it is an intelligence failure on a scale I am shocked to see on the part of the Israelis, who have one of the most vaunted intelligence services in the world, and deservedly. When I was commander of U.S. European Command, Israel was part of my responsibility, military to military. So I know Israel extremely well. I've been there dozens and dozens of times interacting with their military. This really is reminiscent of the Yom Kippur War 50 years ago, almost exactly, when, again, the Israelis were shocked by that war. So, point one, intelligence failure, got to take that apart in a very serious way. Got to also ask, where was U.S. intelligence on this? I think you're going to hear more on both those fronts shortly. Secondly, the point I want to make, Katie, for viewers is, to us as Americans, in some way, these numbers sound kind of small, right? Like 20 people killed or 40 people killed. I'd invite listeners to recognize there are only 7 million Jews in the state of Israel. So population adjusted basis, when 20 Israelis are killed or 20 hostages are captured, that's like 1,000 Americans. So if we get into 60 Israeli killed, we're looking at truly a 9/11 level event. And I think that number is going to be well above 60. They may have 20, 40, 60, 80 hostages right now. Those are big numbers. This is massive political, military, and diplomatic, enormous movement that's going to come out of this over the next few days.
Admiral, we've been talking over the last couple of hours the reality that Israel will not leave anyone behind. Israel will insist, dead or alive, to get its people back. Considering the fact that there have been hostages taken, soldiers captured, Hamas confirming same, your thoughts about the continuing escalating response that we're going to see from Israel? We do know Netanyahu has declared the Israeli Defense Forces have mobilized, as well as their civilians that are reservists. And so your thoughts on that?
Israel has a unique structure, almost unique in the world, in that every single older Israeli, as teenagers and as young adults, all of them except some who are granted religious exemptions, are drafted into the military and spend a year training. That training is kept up to date. This is a society of 7 million people who can put a couple of 100,000 trained troops into combat in a relatively short period of time. Same with the Air Force, same with the Navy. So it's a very mobilized society, much like Switzerland or Finland, who just joined the NATO alliance, for example. So Israel will respond to this. This is the kind of thing that rattles old ghosts in Israel of not only Yom Kippur, the 7-day war, the surrounding and invasive part of this. So look for Israel to go high and hard into Gaza. Yes, they will get those hostages back, dead or alive. And what the Israelis are thinking about right now is how to keep this as a one-front war, as in Gaza, and how to avoid Hezbollah to the north, a terrorist organization, a creature of Iran that unfortunately possesses 130,000 surface-to-surface missiles that could be unleashed, how to keep them out of the fight, as well as looking to the West Bank and other aspects of this where the Palestinian Authority is. I think Israel will be successful, Katie, in containing this around Gaza. The Iranians know what it would mean to pull into this and pull Hezbollah in. The Palestinian Authority similarly. This, I think, will come to be a brutal but a contained fight between Hamas and the Israeli Defense Forces, and it's going to be quite explosive over the next few days.
Admiral, United States Defense Secretary Austin says the Pentagon will work to ensure Israel, quote, has what it needs to defend itself. That's a statement that's just been released from Reuters by the United States Defense Secretary Austin. Admiral, what would that look like in terms of aid from the United States?
First, and I think this, again, is a question you have to ask, is intelligence activity, satellite imagery, communications monitoring. The Israelis clearly need better intelligence. That's something that typically we're in a position to provide. Secondly, air defense. You were talking earlier about Iron Dome. Replenishing the stocks of air defense systems is going to be pretty important, I think, over the next few days. Thirdly, special forces, coordination, talking to the Israelis, sharing information, tactics, techniques, procedures. We do quite a bit of that already. We run air defense exercises together frequently. I could see an instance where if Hamas continues to try and use naval assets, elements of the U.S. Sixth Fleet could move to the Eastern Mediterranean and help our Israeli partners, as well, Katie, as conventional military ammunition stocks. Fortunately, a great deal of that is already in Israel. We have placed those for exactly this kind of contingency. So those stocks can be opened up, and it would not be affected by what's happening, for example, in Ukraine, where we're helping our Ukrainian partners. These are distinct military stocks that are designated for Israel, are largely in Israel. Those can be opened up and provided to our Israeli partners. Bottom line, Lloyd Austin, you're going to hear it from every level of the administration. I happen to be in Sea Island, Georgia. The director of the CIA, Bill Burns, will be joining us this evening for a big conference, annual conference by the Cipher Brief Group. And I think you're going to hear a full-throated defense of Israel at this point. We're going to do everything necessary for them to thwart this attack.
Retired Admiral James Stavridis, thank you so much for your insight and for joining us and for giving us this invaluable information. I appreciate you.